butterfly alights. And just in time. Enrage the tigress. Suffer. Her claws. Free flutters like the dawn. Rain on the hill. Night falls. No one's float. Swift as thought. Certain as scatter. It's over. Foam on the sea. Dawnfly's life is like the dawn. The finals. Dawnfly stay. Crescent moon. The butterfly emerges. Flutter. Come what may. The final song. Fly! Life is a... Like the dawn. The tide rises. Evanescence! Rain on the hill, spread your float. Free flutters dance. Scatter! Fall! Foam on the sea. Night falls. Swift as thought, certain as death. Come, scatter. Soar. Small wings may beckon a storm. Butterfly effect. Moonlight. Wind in the field. The tide rises. Float. Scatter. Swarm. Come to view the requests? come from a long lineage of proud warriors. We had a great number of visitors at our dojo, many of them masters of their respective disciplines. At some point, I picked up a blade of my own and began to mimic their movements. Back then, I enjoyed the training for what it was, valuing the journey over the destination. That is, until I met him, the supreme swordsmaster of the Eternals, Eata, once known as the demon Zamba. With a single glance, he identified all of my weaknesses. Then, with a few words, he taught me to overcome them. His strength was beyond captivating. I even eavesdropped on a conversation between him and my father, and discovered we were distant relatives. I was elated. For some time, he continued to train at our family dojo. I took every opportunity I could to learn from him, following him wherever he went. I ate whenever he ate. I committed all his mannerisms to memory. However, with the exception of our first encounter, he never acknowledged me. After all, he yearned for nothing more than strength. Why pay heed to a weakling, such as myself? So I vowed to become stronger. I would soar so high, he'd have to see me. I dedicated myself to training, begrudging even a single moment of respite. The blade was everything to me. And eventually, there was no disciple at the dojo who could come close to rivaling my skill. That was around when he vanished. In the blink of an eye, he was out of my life. He spoke not another word to me, nor called me by name. I was meditating in the forest one day when a group of travelers approached me. I didn't know them, but they were the captain and the crew of the Grand Cipher, and my future. Initially, I thought they were lost and had come to ask for directions. I was only half correct. They were seeking guidance, but not out of the woods. They wanted to learn martial arts from me. I shook my head. I was no master. Only a chrysalis, struggling to break free of my own shell. I believed the captain was mocking me, but that wasn't the case. I looked into the captain's eyes and found truth, alongside a burning desire for strength. It felt as if I was in his presence again. I found myself drawn to the captain. That's why I decided to join the crew of the Grand Cipher on their journey across the skies. I was convinced that this was the only path that could reunite me with Zamba. One day, I encountered an adorable Harvan girl at a local market. I'd already finished my shopping, so I decided to accompany her to a nearby cafe for tea and conversation. Upon parting, I asked for her name. She proudly introduced herself as Fief, one of the 10 Eternals. I had heard that Zamba once cared for a child of the same name. A jealousy brewed within me that I hadn't felt before. Zamba had taken notice of her, yet he never once acknowledged me during our time together. My inner peace had been shattered. I retreated to the mountains and started my training anew. But the more I tried to find direction, the more I realized how lost I truly was. It was Lyria and the captain who brought me back. They appreciated me for who I was. Nothing more, nothing less. Perhaps I too could learn to love the living, breathing me, and not a ghost of the future. That thought filled me with so much contentment I was ready to give up on chasing Zomba. But the universe works in strange ways. As soon as I was about to let go, Fief helped bring me and Zomba together again. It was then I finally put into words how I felt. I spoke about how I wanted him to acknowledge me, to call my name. He listened quietly, and for what I felt was the first time, truly saw me. But I had yet to see and love myself. As part of my quest for self-discovery, I crossed blades with Zomba. No, Ayata. We fought for days. He no longer believed I was a weakling. After our battle, we visited the tea shop, and it was there that he first addressed me by name. Never had tea and cake tasted so sweet to me. Now, with nothing holding me back, I am free to soar toward ever greater heights with my beloved companions on the Grand Cipher. I had failed that day at the Hailwind Altar. I had spent years training and sharpening my skills, devoted my entire life to the pursuit of strength. But in that moment, it all amounted to nothing. Our experiences in Zego Grande had planted a seed of doubt in my mind. Over time, it grew, dense and wild as a jungle, choking me with a sense of helplessness like I'd never felt before. I wasn't able to protect Lyria or the captain. I had found my identity as a big sister, as a guardian, but now that I'd failed, who was I? I thought about resuming my training, but I couldn't afford to isolate myself like that. What if something were to happen while I was away? Then, the solution came to me. Whenever the captain was about to take on a dangerous mission, I would complete it first. That way, I could train myself and protect the crew in one fell swoop. I was too blind to see that despair had clipped my wings and chained me once again to the past. Are there any particularly dangerous missions available? Sierra Carte, with her usual cheery disposition, set a list of options before me.
Sure are. We've got a few jobs here that only a crew of your caliber could handle. In fact...
She paused and looked at me with a quizzical expression.
You know, I can't even remember the last time I saw you here by your lonesome. Don't you usually do things as a crew?
I told her I intended to undertake these missions alone, as part of my training.
I gotcha. The grind never ends for you, huh? Just don't push yourself too hard, you hear?
I nodded, only half acknowledging Sierra's words. After deciding upon a venture, I chartered a small carrier vessel which would take me to a nearby island. As the ship was tossed about the turbulent winds, I closed my eyes and looked for peace within. This is for their sake, as well as mine. According to Zero, the threat should be somewhere around here. I sense great evil. Just a little farther.
This is revenge for my breach!
Shall we test which is stronger? Your shield or my blade? Crescent moon! Wind and the field, there is such malice. You cannot be allowed to live. Stay vigilant! Not yet! Once more. I can see how this battle will end. It ends with your death! Brief letters say war demands blood. Rain on the hills. You bring nothing to the skies but suffering. Your anger is no match for mine. Worthless. But it's not over yet. I will not rest while evil runs free. Do you not have anything more dangerous? I made quick work of the mission and returned at once to Sierra. She seemed taken aback when I demanded more work, but I was determined. If someone had to risk their life, better me than the captain. The crew didn't have to know. They would be kept free from worry and danger, while I grew stronger. I was so absorbed in my thoughts, I'd failed to notice how Sierra's eyes grew ever more clouded with worry.
Hello there.
I continued to take one treacherous job after another. If you want someone safe, then keep them from entering the tiger's den. It's as simple as that.
Are you really sure you're up for another wonder, Maya?
Sierra worried for me, but there was no turning back now. My labor had bore fruit. The rest of the crew was beginning to look healthier, better rested. They returned earlier from missions, bearing fewer injuries. I appreciate the concern, Sierra, but the path to strength is long and narrow, and I must continue down this path, for all of their sakes. I was fixated on protecting my loved ones. They were all I could see. If they were safe, then nothing else mattered. That thought alone was enough to steel my resolution. On days without work, I would meditate on the deck of the Grand Cipher. One day, the voice of Vern broke through my meditations.
I don't know. She looks pretty wound up. Wouldn't she usually have dozed off by now? I'm telling ya, something's going on.
He was livelier than ever. Perfect.
You shouldn't push yourself too hard, Narmaya.
And sweet, tender Lyria. Yes, this was how things should be. I cracked open my eyes and stole a hopeful glance at the captain. But on that kind face, I could read only worry and distress. I wanted nothing more than to comfort my darling. No, I was acting for their sakes. I had already come so far. If I could just hold to my path a little longer, make the skies a little safer, then I could go back to being their big sister. I needed more strength. I needed to be worthy of this family. The crew of the Grand Cipher was powerful, but in the end, we were only small people in a vast sky, filled with endless dangers. If I didn't get stronger, one day that sky would engulf us. I had to protect them. I could protect them. All I was lacking was time. I couldn't believe it. I rushed back to Zero after every mission, but that day the captain had dropped by without my knowledge and taken up a request, a particularly treacherous one. It was careless to think that Zero would reserve every single dangerous job for me.
The Grand Cipher crew's more than capable of handling it.
Couldn't she see? The universe worked in dark and mysterious ways. Their lives were always in danger. If I allowed monsters to wander free through the skies, their rot would continue to seep until I, just one lonely figure, could no longer hold back the tide. I had to hunt them all down. There was not a moment to lose. I had to cut down the root of evil, so it could never spread again. I would not kill out of malice, nor did I seek meaningless violence. But when weighing the lives of my loved ones against the lives of these beasts, the answer was clear. As long as their threat persisted across the skies, the crew would never truly be safe. And so I would wield my blade to protect the crew and the helpless. For the captain, I would become the harbinger of death. Everything is for the captain. My dearest captain. I would kill, and kill, and kill, and kill. Every last threat.
So if it wasn't clear by now, I like doing things my way. Which brings me to a constant thorn in my side. Vasaraga, the annoying half of my two-man cell. Considering it was Drill Sergeant Ilsa who assigned us together, I figured she knew what she was doing. Yeah, no. Vasaraga and I gelled like oil and water. Did Ilsa really expect us to have good team chemistry? I think sticking him with me was an attempt to keep him from going off the deep end. Only later did I find out he'd been through some pretty traumatic events in his life. It scarred him, both physically and emotionally. Maybe that's why he can be borderline suicidal whenever someone else's life is at stake. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for helping people. I'm just saying it's 100% possible to play hero without throwing your life away. I remember this one time when we got trapped in a life-or-death situation because of his screw-up. You should have heard the rage I was spewing. Know what he did next? He apologized, which just felt out of character coming from him. Like, Even though it was your fault we're in this mess, don't just throw in the towel, man. Ugh, it was so frustrating. Who knew that big lug could be so sensitive? On the flip side, I can't help but be honest. I like what I like, and I hate what I hate. I don't want anyone getting the wrong impressions about me. I might say things that ruffle a few feathers, but I stand by my words. I can't take back what I've already said. Anyway, I'd rather be true to myself than be something I'm not. That's just the kind of gal I am. It was good to be back in Seed Hollow after wrapping up another easy-peasy mission. Since my schedule was empty, I decided to hit up a cute little cafe for some much-deserved cake.
Hello there.
Some little kid I've never seen before walked right up to me, his eyes twinkling with starstruck awe. He got down on one knee and said,
Will you marry me?
"Was this kid for real? Did he even know what he was asking?" You've got guts, little man. Tell you what, come find me in a decade or so, and then maybe we'll talk. I thought a gentle rejection would get him off my back, but I was wrong.
If you walk away now, you'll be making the biggest mistake of your life.
I knew better than to take the bait, but I had to admit, I was sort of curious. Okay, hotshot, I'll bite. Why are you asking a total stranger like me to marry you? At least he had a good eye. Credit where credit's due.
Because I know you're strong. You make stomping monsters look so easy. Oh, and you're really pretty too.
Wow, what do you know? A sweet talker.
And your spear is wicked cool. How many monsters can you shish kebab with that thing?
I should have known. Boys love the heroic stuff. 10, 20? It doesn't matter. The real prize is in hunting primal beasts. Oh, wait, you guys don't call them that. I meant primeval gods. I've got a soft spot for children, especially the ones who hang on my every word. You try ignoring the adorable little scamps. In any case, it seemed clear that this boy was genuinely head over heels for me.
So, how about it? Will you marry me?
Nope.
Aw, come on.
Word of advice, don't spring a marriage proposal on an unsuspecting woman. Catch you later, little man. Maybe we'll chat some other time. I ruffled his hair and started walking off.
I'm not giving up.
The tyke knew how to dream big. If only a certain grumpy lug I knew had the same level of optimism.
Hi, Azeda. Fancy running into you here. You're just as pretty as the first time we met.
I had started to wonder if I'd ever see the little heartbreaker again. Guess I got my answer. We talked for a bit, and I learned his name was Vaughn. I knew which question he wanted to pop, but I didn't have time to humor him today. A hospital in Seed Hollow was in dire need of medicinal ingredients, so it was off to Fondom for me and the crew.
Okay, gotcha. I understand.
Well, that was easy, considering how he kept pestering me. I didn't expect him to be so reasonable.
I know better than to get in the way of your job. I am a little worried, but I'm sure the monsters won't give you any trouble.
You got that right. I eat monsters for breakfast. Aw, how sweet. The little doodlebug had total faith in me.
Stay safe out there. Come back in one piece.
I will. As I left to meet up with the crew, I made a mental note to pick up a souvenir for my biggest little fan. Sweet. I think that's everything on the list.
Good, because this heat's killing me. Let's get back to the ship. What the?
Holy! Could be a sign this place is ready to blow sky high.
Well, I'm not sticking around to find out. Let's keep moving.
Being boiled alive is bad enough. Now I gotta deal with wyverns?
Millipray! Beat the ground seeking into the magma!
Screw these flying lizards! Where's the exit?
Pair of guys like us with no chance.
Just grab ingredients, they said. It'll be easy, they said. This bites.
Ah! Fire spirits!
I'm sorry I ever set foot in this oven.
Never say oh wait.
Ow, hot! Can't go that way. If we can get to that higher ground over there, that should lead us back outside.
Can you pick up the pace? The magma's rising even faster!
Too much for you? A blessing. Take our power.
Let's do this!
I need to go all out. Stay with the flame. Don't get cocky.
I think we're safe here. Maybe.
Man, I really worked up a sweat. At least we didn't lose anyone.
Grand Cypher's just up ahead. Come on!
Ah!
What are the odds of bumping into a golem in here?
Who knew I had so many fervent fans? Thanks for making a gal feel loved. And to show my appreciation, I'm gonna turn you to scrap. Let's do this!
This crew is unstoppable. Just what the doctor ordered.
There's way more where that came from.
Here comes trouble.
Wait till I get my hands on it.
Strike through.
Have
With my
Ready
life.
to fight, Red! Take that sucker down!
That's the plan. One pile of rebels coming right up. Okay, this definitely qualifies for hazard pay. Oh, who am I kidding? Probably won't even see an extra rupee. Say your prayers! Hey, what's this? A piece of rock from the golem? I like the way it glitters. Might make a neat souvenir for a certain someone I know. Yep. Mission complete. Vaughn was the first person to greet me when I returned to Seed Hollow. He ran over to me like an overexcited puppy. Here, I got you a little something for being good.
Wow, this rock is crazy! It's all shiny and stuff!
I'm a pro at picking out gifts, if I do say so myself. After all, what kid isn't mesmerized by shiny objects? Vaughn wouldn't stop thanking me. I honestly didn't think he'd like it that much. But in this case, I was happy to be wrong.
It's amazing how you made it out of Fondom without a scratch. You're a one-woman wrecking crew.
Can't argue with the truth.
Anyway, it's cool that you're being nice to me, but I don't mind when you play hard to get either.
Huh? The nerve of this kid.
Are you blushing?
What? His confidence was respectable. Admirable, even. But seriously, get real, little man. Talking to you makes my head spin.
Does that mean you're falling for me?
No, it means I'm worried about your future. Years from now, Vaughn's gonna be breaking hearts left and right. Mark my words.
Hello there.
Hey there, Zeta! So glad I caught you again.
How did he always know when I was in Seed Hollow? He was clueless to his clinginess, and it was testing my patience.
Are you free today? I was thinking we could go on a picnic.
I mulled it over for a bit. A picnic didn't sound half bad. It was a nice day, after all.
Oh no. Is this a bad time?
His puppy dog eyes bore into my soul. How could I say no to that? Kids just have this way of triggering your protective instincts. Not to mention they can be terrifyingly perceptive. You know what? The weather's great today. So, count me in. His face lit up with joy, and I turned to my next important decision. What to have for lunch. I didn't have to think too hard about that. When it came to picnics, sandwiches were the only way to go.
This must be the lad I've heard so much about.
A few days earlier, I was in the ship's lounge telling the captain about Vaughn, when Vasaraga happened to walk in. So he ended up learning about the kid, too. He listened without saying much. Never was the talkative type, anyway.
Hi, mister. I'm Vaughn.
I half expected Vaughn to cower from Vasaraga, but instead the boy dropped a friendly hello. Maybe he had a strict upbringing.
Call me Vasaraga.
Vasaraga looked at me, then at Vaughn, then back at me again. What did he want?
So that's how it is. Here, Zeta. Take these.
I peeked into the bag he gave me and did a double take. It was stuffed with fruit sandwiches.
These come highly recommended by Vern, Lyria, and the captain. You should split them with Vaughn.
For the both of us. Huh. Call me crazy, but it almost sounded like he went out of his way to buy these for us. I rummaged through the goods and caught sight of one sandwich stuffed with melon slices and another with peaches. Nice. Those are my favorites. Hey, great pickups, Vasaraga. Can't wait to scarf these down.
Go for it.
Cha-ching! Jackpot! Vaughn and I said our goodbyes to Vasaraga, and we found an open bench in a park just outside the city.
You look really happy. Are you a big fruit fan?
I was jamming an ungodly amalgamation of fruit, bread, and whipped cream into my face. I think that counts as a yes. Yeah, more or less. I like anything as long as it's tasty.
Ah, that's good to know.
There was no chance in hell Vasaraga picked out these cute sandwiches all by himself. Absolutely none. Someone in the crew must have tagged along. The thought of him stomping through the aisles of a shop filled with cupcakes and cookies drew a chuckle out of me.
So, are you and Vasaraga an item?
Are we an item? Gross! Is that what it looks like to you? Look, he's just my coworker. I'm kind of stuck with him. Uh-huh. He opened his mouth as if he had more to say, but I guess he changed his mind. We ended up having a fascinating chat about bugs instead.
Good afternoon, Zeta! It's always nice to see you.
It was another gorgeous day. Vaughn came bounding over to see me for like, what, the 100th time? Or maybe even millionth?
I wanted to give you something to say thanks for the souvenir you got me. I hope you like it.
He held out a beautifully wrapped box, its sides emblazoned with the logo of a world-class bakery. I didn't know what to say. Kids ought to be spending their lunch money on cheap snacks, not fancy-pants pastries. Are you sure you want me to have this? How could you even afford this with pocket change?
Don't you know it's discourteous to appraise the worth of one's gift?
How do you know big words like that?
Papa told me.
Oh, great. Don't tell me he got his family involved.
I wanted to show you how much I care, so I saved up my allowance. Zero Carte helped me pick a shop that's popular with girls.
Vaughn stared at the ground as he spoke, stealing an occasional glance at me to gauge my reaction. He had put his feelings out there in the only way he knew how, and it was all coming to a head. In a situation like this, I had to be firm yet considerate. I could never live with myself if I trampled over his heart, even if I didn't mean to.
I thought for sure you'd like it. I guess I was wrong.
He kicked at the dirt, still unwilling to meet my gaze. Wow, as if I didn't feel guilty enough already. What are you talking about? This is an awesome gift. Thank you. As soon as I said that, his toothy smile came roaring back with a vengeance. But from now on, you can't give me any more presents.
Why not?
In one fell swoop, he turned my words against me. Poor boy was on the verge of tears. His voice quivered as he explained his intent. He had seen how delighted I was with Vasaraga's gift of sandwiches, and all he wanted was to deliver that same joy. Oh, you sweet darling boy. You've got a lot to learn, but your heart's in the right place. I'd hate to leave you jaded. I decided that honesty was the best course of action. No more tiptoeing around the issue. It's a lovely gift, but I'm worried you're not eating enough to grow big and strong. That's why I want you to spend your money on snacks for yourself, okay?
Okay, got it.
Way to go, Zeta. So much for being upfront with him. I'm glad you understand. Now why don't we dig into this yummy treat together?
Sure, I'd be happy to feed you.
Gah! Why, you conniving little... My hands work just fine, thank you very much.
Phooey. From now on, I'm gonna prove that we're meant for each other.
The talk I had with Vaughn yesterday only intensified his resolve. I asked him what he had in mind.
First, I'll get to know you better, Zeta.
A little late for that, but at least he was thinking in the right direction.
Let me see. Okay, first question. What's your type of guy?
Subtlety wasn't Vaughn's strongest point. to be compatible with your partner is something you should figure out for yourself.
Huh? But I don't know how to do that. It's faster just to ask.
This kid.
Do you like strong guys?
You could say that. I prefer someone who knows how to fend for themselves. Means I don't have to worry about them as much.
Well, that's perfect then.
Vaughn stood up straight and tall and proudly puffed out his chest.
I'm still in the middle of sword training, but I'm the best out of all the kids in the class. Even the bigger ones.
Already outclassing the older kids, huh? Not bad, not bad. I wonder how I stacked up when I was his age.
Now do you love me?
Not even close.
Phooey.
His reactions cracked me up. There was never a dull moment with this kid.
There has to be a way for me to win your heart.
I'm sorry, but that was just too precious. I didn't mean to laugh, but his frustration caught me off guard. He was trying so hard against the odds to win me over. If we were around the same age, things might have been different.
I don't care about being precious. I care about you.
The more he sulked, the harder it became to hold in my giggles. Sorry. I patted his head in an attempt to lighten the mood, but he wasn't having it. Bahamut saved me. His kid was so sweet he was gonna give me cavities.
Wow, these vegetables are very unique. Yes, unique.
I brought Vern and Lyria with me in hopes of lifting Irene's spirits.
How do you make a tomato look like a shriveled bone? That's talent, I guess.
Vern was, for better or worse, brutally honest. Now, who did that remind me of?
Vern, don't be rude.
It's fine, Lyria. He's not wrong.
Though she had every right to be offended, Irene took the comment in stride. Our two most carefree members of the crew seemed to be rubbing off on her. Guess it was the right call to bring them. I'm not the best at brightening the mood.
So Vasaraga told us about your plan. You want them to grow big and healthy, but they keep withering, right?
Yes.
After a moment of silence, Lyria gave Irene a sympathetic smile, encouraging the girl to divulge her feelings. She began to perk up. Guess Zeta was right. It really is easier to share your worries with someone closer to your age.
Taking care of those little ones is my purpose in life.
She went on to recount how she had always been a loner. From a young age, her only friends were the plants she cared for. Recently, she had discovered that she could hear her plants talk, though she had no idea how or why.
But now, it's like my precious friends are fading away, one by one. I don't know how much more of this I can take.
Not long after she had gained the ability to communicate with her cherished plants, they suddenly began to wither and die one after another. She could hear them wail in agony as they reached their end. It was no surprise that she soon reached her breaking point.
A few are still alive, but I'm sure they'll join the others in no time. If this is all that's waiting for me in the future, then I would rather not live to see it.
Watching the lives of your loved ones slip out of your fingers? I could relate to that. What was she supposed to do? Distance herself from her reason for living? Wasn't that as good as dying? I eyed the black mist. Look, there's gotta be a way to fix things.
What? But I've tried everything.
Squeezing her bandaged wrist, Irene looked up at me in confusion. I did my best to reassure her without betraying the worry gnawing at my mind. What happened here? I had stopped by Irene's garden after finishing our quest, only to find every single leaf and stem had turned black and rotted. It felt unnatural, like something had completely sucked the life from what should have been a thriving patch of greenery. Filled with dread, I rushed inside the house, but Irene was nowhere in sight. It was then that I noticed a letter on the floor.
To the blasphemer who betrayed Avia, you should know that Lady Lilith wished to bathe the skies in destruction. Have you not yet realized that clinging to life is folly? That living is a sacrilege to all we preach? You have two choices before you. Watch as that forbidden implement spreads darkness to all those innocent folk living around you, or return to Avia and repent.
So Irene had ties to the Church of Avia, and they'd fitted her with some sort of cruel device. Reminded me of Lyria and the Mind Sealer. If they had hurt Irene like they hurt Lyria... Damn. Thought I'd finally dealt with this pain. But there I was, failing to protect yet another innocent life. Brooding on it for too long wasn't going to bring Irene back, so I left the house and scoured the town. Avia always had a flair for drama, but I detected no commotion in town. Which means, bastards snuck away in a ship. Knowing there were precious few minutes to trail them, I rushed to the port.
There's a place called the Boundary, where every strand of time entwines and colossal concentrations of energy are stored. A person with a strong boundary imprint is capable of tapping into the boundary to extract its energy, like yours truly, for one. That being said, just because I have access to the mine doesn't mean I'll always strike gold. If anything, I think I got more than I bargained for. A resonant voice boomed from the Boundary and issued a disturbing warning. It claimed there was a calamitous menace residing in Zega Grande's skydom. Zega Grande? You're sure about that? Unless my memory was playing tricks on me. That was where the captain and the crew were right now.
How curious. I wonder if that warning you heard pertains to a youth named Id.
Meet Anra, the world's greatest spearmaster. Blame him for giving me the idea to form the Eternals. He's got eyes and ears in all corners of the skies thanks to his buddies from his merchant days. Who's this Id guy? I get the feeling you've got the deets.
Indeed I do. Have a seat. The tales my friends tell me of Zega Grande's current events are well worth the listen.
Anra proceeded to give me the scoop. Turns out Zega Grande has primal beasts too, except they call them primeval gods. The Church of Avia, led by a woman named Lilith, propagated the idea of deifying those primals. Zega Grande was unique in the sense that even the true king had yet to meddle in its affairs.
Thankfully, the captain and the crew thwarted Lilith's plans. Her son Id is now pursuing a path of atonement for his transgressions.
Sheesh. I can't believe an extinction-level conspiracy nearly succeeded right under our noses. That's not funny at all. You're telling me this kid morphed into the Dragon of Destruction to blow up the world, and we're supposed to let bygones be bygones because he's sorry? Anra, ever perceptive of my implications, tried to appease me with a smile.
Now, the captain has welcomed Id into the crew. It may be best to keep your opinions to yourself this time. You have a history of coming across as confrontational.
Ouch. He's got me there. Still hurts to be called out, though. Come on. It's my job as our leader to take this stuff seriously. Besides, getting on the captain's bad side is the last thing I want.
Yes, it would be wise to maintain an amicable working relationship.
The old-timer chuckled softly before shooting me a piercing stare.
Do you remember that sage counsel I gave you oh so long ago? Sometimes, making impartial decisions means losing the sympathy and understanding of others. This is going to be one of those times.
Ah, Hanra. Subtle as ever. Leading the Eternals is hard enough without your helpful reminders. I know. I'll keep you updated. Wait, really? You're coming with me, Twain?
Unless you see me as excess baggage.
What? I would never think that. My original plan was to fly solo. Punctuality isn't a hallmark of the Eternals. Assuming anyone bothers to show up when I call for assembly, that is. To make matters worse, my approval rating took a nosedive for my handling of recent events. They can think whatever they want, but I did what I had to do, even if it meant losing a modicum of trust in the short run. That was the justification I gave myself, anyway. So when Twain offered to accompany me, I was touched. Were the open wounds finally starting to heal? I wanted it to be true. Please tell me it was true. You're coming with me out of the goodness of your heart, right?
Actually, it's personal. I'll be on hand to make sure you don't start a war or something. Think of me as your chaperone.
I knew it was too good to be true. Give me a little credit. I swear I've learned my lesson.
And I want to believe you, but we don't need a repeat of the Stardust Town incident.
Oh, right. That little unhappiness. Me reaping what I sowed really sucks. Well, that's just Twain being Twain. I know she's worried about me. She's too professional to say it. Yeah, let's go with that.
There are 10 of us that make up the Eternals. We're said to be the strongest fighters wielding the strongest weapons in the skies. Our formidable presence alone was enough to deter conflict before it arose, so rarely did I need to draw an arrow. I joined the Eternals because I agreed with their mantra of solving disputes without bloodshed. But on a personal level, I just wanted to spend time with others who knew the pain of being ostracized for being atypical. So imagine my dismay when I discovered their penchants for being antisocial. We don't even go out for dinner together. What's up with that? Well, everyone's got their own thing going, I guess. But it's a shame we don't indulge in our hobbies together. Not all hope is lost, though. A lot of us have really opened up since we started traveling with the captain's crew. Speaking of the crew, I wonder how they're doing right now. Last time I saw them was before they left for Zega Grande Skydom. And according to the latest gossip from Onra's merchant contacts, the region was experiencing a massive uprising. When Sovan heard the news, of course he leapt into action and headed there himself. Sovan's a principled man, but sometimes he can be blinded by zeal. Like the time the Seven-Star Sword manipulated him into attacking his fellow Eternals. Yep, including me. So, I thought I should go and keep an eye on him. It wasn't that I was worried about him, per se.
Better to have extra help on hand should complications develop, you know? Besides, I was doing this as a favor to Anra, too. And as long as I was making excuses, I might as well confess. Although I never miss my target, I certainly missed the captain and the crew.
Mother said she would bring us salvation. It was a glorious message, and for that she gained a devoted following. As for me, how could I doubt the woman who pulled me from the fiery wreck, who raised me as her own? I thought that together we would save the Sky Realm, even if it meant cutting down any who opposed us. But over time, the sacrifices began to mount. I struggled. My reason battled with my heart, which battled with my conscience. Mother was pure and righteous, but to sacrifice the entire Sky Realm... No. She just lost her way for a bit. She'd wake up one day and see she had strayed. As her child, as her defender, I wanted to believe that she'd change for me. Even at the very end, when I was forced to turn my sword on her, I was praying for an alternative. Any alternative. But she would not repent. And I was confronted with the full force of the atrocities I'd committed in Avia's name. But there was one light left to guide me.
Just follow your heart. It might lead you to scary places, but at least you'll know you're being true to yourself.
Thank you, Lyria. If you hadn't reminded me of my own strength, I'd still be in the dark following Lilith. I swear to you that I will fix even more than I destroyed. And one day, perhaps I will be worthy of your forgiveness. "15 years ago, Dali fell prey to a violent catastrophe. One that still lives etched in my mind. There was an explosion. Immense and sudden. My home went up in flames, and with it the only life I had ever known. People were fleeing and dying in all directions. The air was filled with screams. The smell of burning. Then, I heard it. The soul-piercing roar of a dragon. My short life should have come to an end that day. Except...
Shh. It's okay. Let me be the one to save you.
Salvation came in the form of a kind woman. Her name was Lilith, prophet of the pilgrims of Avia. From that day forth, she was both my mother and mentor. I worshipped her. And the thing about devotion is, it makes you blind. Mother had followers in the hundreds, thousands, and my simple child's mind thought, well, if this many people have faith in her, she has to be good, right? I wanted desperately to be of use to her. So I trained to be the perfect guardian.
Young Id, one day you shall be as mighty as I!
General Galanza taught me how to fight.
You wouldn't want the other pilgrims saying you're riding your mother's coattails, would you? Then you must prove yourself.
General Magliel taught me why we fight. Her training was harsh, but that's how I acquired the makings of a general. All effort, no nepotism. Finally, I had some value to Mother. Her sharpest sword. I never felt happier or more accomplished. I thought we were going to save the Sky Realm. The naivete of it all. After we captured the Shaman of Salvation for Lilith's cause, I was assigned to be the girl's keeper. That made me enemy number 1 to the Grand Cypher's crew. Every time I took Lyria to a primal beast altar, they'd be there, and we'd fight. I mean, there was a time or two we had to cooperate to prevent widespread calamity. That's beside the point. They were standing in the way of Lilith's mission, opening a path to the Promised Land to Estalucia, and bringing salvation to all Sky Dwellers. Salvation. It's a powerful word in a messed up world like ours. No wonder everyone got roped in by her lies. Lilith was no more than an astral desperate to return to her home dimension, and she would have sacrificed the whole Sky Realm to do it. I tried to reason with her. Might as well have asked an avalanche to change course. So I turned to prayer. But what are hopes and belief without action? So left with no other choice, I joined the crew of the Grand Cypher to dispatch my own mother. But I never could have foreseen what would happen next. Lilith did something, and freed a monster from within me. The dragon I'd seen the day Dolly burned, with wings so vast they overshadowed all of Sega Grande. Bahamut Versa. But then I learned, Bahamut didn't cause the Dolly calamity. It had come to stop it. It was Lilith who killed my family and razed my home. She'd only let me live for one reason. She needed a vessel to seal the dragon in, and I was conveniently nearby. She'd raised me to win my loyalty and protect herself from the god of destruction now living inside me. But when I stopped being of use to her, she abandoned me and let me turn into Bahamut. I don't know how to describe the feeling of flesh melting into scales, a fire filling your stomach. All human warmth, human blood seemed to rush from my veins, and it was replaced by an overwhelming urge to destroy. It was like being swept away in a torrent. Any attempt to fight it only made the suffering worse. I was so tempted to give in. But the crew wouldn't let me. Apparently, the captain was sure I wouldn't lose my soul battle with Bahamut. So to help me along, they decided to beat on the dragon from the outside until he coughed me up. Yeah, not the most elaborate plan, but it worked. The whole time they were fighting, they called my name, and the sound of their voices brought me back. I split myself from Bahamut, then joined the crew to take it down. We had our losses, though. Bahamut hit me and the captain with a blow that sent us hurtling into another dimension. A man named Roland dove in to save us, sacrificing himself along the way. And that's how we came back to Folca without him. Roland used to be the local Mr. Fix-It, by the way, and I took up that mantle. I owed him that much, and I figured it'd be a first step in making amends.